Billy Hatcher says, I plan to watch the Mario movie this week, mostly because of Chris Pratt. So Chris Pratt's my biological brother. Not a lot of people know this, but yeah, I think he does a great job. You see, everybody was really, really pissed at that he voiced Mario.
Yeah, why? I don't get it. Like,
I don't know. I think it's because now look, I gotta preface this with something. I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I just never really. I mean, I grew up in the South, and I was forced to go to church for most of my young years, and it just never really, I just never really identified with it. So I just haven't really thought about it since then, since I moved away. But Chris Pratt's a Christian, and for some odd reason, I don't know what it is, they like Hollywood and like tabloids lay into his ass because of that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious though, because like, yeah, Hollywood doesn't like someone that can't be easily manipulated. Because if you think of the majority of celebrities that are really popular in Hollywood, what is it? You gotta be gay, you gotta dress in drag, you gotta be pro all of these pro social justice, whatever. Like you gotta just support the current popular thing. And believers in Christ, they follow God. They obey God. They don't obey man, and they don't like that. There's something intimidating about someone that doesn't have to answer to the internet. Yeah,
they will quite literally want to fire someone like Chris Pratt because he's a Christian, and their justification is, well, Christians believe that being gay is bad, so that automatically he's a bigot, right? Yeah. And he'll be like, no, I don't think that at all. I'm just, I just believe in Christ. So there's that. So he's a Christian, and they want to fire him in every role he's in just for that reason. But you got, Ezra Miller kidnapping people, assaulting people, talking to underage girls, doing all this crazy shit every other day of the week, getting arrested, charged, all this. And he still is in the Flash movie.
Because he's a part of a protected class.
Yes.
He's non-binary.
Yes.
And you should be a little bit more respectful with your criticism.
No! I refuse! I want to slap him in his stupid, perfect looking face. I hate him. No, dude, I don't get it. I think I say this a lot, but I think the pendulum is swinging, I feel like it's swinging because there's actors coming out right now and they're like, yeah, this is bullshit. I'm tired of this. I think Sylvester Stallone did it. Mark Wahlberg did it. They're all like releasing videos like, look, I'm tired of this shit. This is nonsense. I want to be left alone. Right. And you can't really be left alone anymore. Right. Because so that's me. I'm a redneck man from rural Alabama. So what do redneck men from rural Alabama want? To be left alone. That's all I just do. I don't really care what you do. If you like sitting on PPs, that's great. If you like having your PP lopped off, dude, go for it. Lop off all of them. It's all, dude, that's cool. As long as you're of age. Right. But now it's like children time. It's like, so technically we can't have equal rights. Now I'm speaking from a place of the movement, right? We can't have equal rights unless you let me put my 7-year-old on hormones. I'm like, all right, now you done fucked up. Like, look, I was able to give you, I was even letting you chop your penis off. I don't care. Dude, you want some hormones? Put more in you. Put them in you. Have at it, dude. I'm for it. I'm totally cool with what you want to do. As long as it's not affecting me and children, I don't give a damn. But of course, we have to go to children now. That's like the natural move is to go to the children now, right?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that?
My opinion is it's all nonsense, and that's the result of not following God and following culture instead. How many people do you think, if you had to guess, how many of these parents that are willingly chopping off their child's genitals and pumping them with hormones, how many of them do you believe follow Jesus or call themselves Christians?
Okay. I would like to get into this a little bit more because I probably have a different opinion on this, just a hair than you do.
Go for it.
I will answer your question and say probably zero.
Probably. I would also agree with you.
I agree with that. But I also think there's this thing where there's always been this conversation for a long time that people that aren't religious don't know, or people that aren't religious or don't have religious values would not know that it's morally incorrect to kill someone. Therefore, that's why they would kill someone, because they're not religious or not a Christian. And I don't kill people because I don't want to kill people, right? And I'm not religious. So
Right.
what do you think about that?
I can answer that. So, so you would be right. Like I think most people know that something is wrong. Like you don't have to be religious to know that murder is wrong.
Right.
The problem is that we don't have a standard to justify that our stance on that is correct. And you can see this with, like, for example, the topic of abortion. You got some people that say abortion is murder. You got some people that say that's not a baby yet. Yes. So what standard are we going by this? Clearly, you got the pro-lifers. Most of the pro-lifers are people that follow the creator, and the creator makes the rules. So with that in mind, shit, what was the other part of the question? You don't need, okay, so you don't need to, I had a point. I just had a brain fart. See, the time is catching up to me.
What are you in your 30s?
I'm in my 34. I'm 34. I'm going to be 35.
That shit happens to me every day.
Ew, well, I'm also an ex-pot smoker too. So like my brain is like.
I remember I went down the stairs yesterday. It was like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh shit, dude, and I go down the stairs and I'm standing in my kitchen in my boxers and I'm like, why did I come down here? And I just went back upstairs. I know. Man, there was probably something really important.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me go back to, I think I got what I was going to say. So like, most people don't, like, sure, you can say that something is wrong or something is good or whatever, but without a standard beyond civilization, you don't have any means of justifying it. It's simply just an opinion, which is why now, if we're talking about the transgender thing, it is of their standard that society has determined it is morally okay to chop off the body parts of little boys and girls.
Yes.
Where do they get that from? It's because of the science. We're following the science. So essentially what you're saying is you're following people, and people have the potential to lie and manipulate and basically set their own standards. And so that's why it is so important for people to understand that without a standard by God, if left to our own devices, someone who has a persistent atheistic worldview, that gives us Hitler, Stalin, Mao, all these evil people. And even though, whenever I say this, someone will say, well, I know killing is bad. That's great that you have self-control, but a persistent worldview that doesn't believe in accountability after death means that that person doesn't have any boundaries to say, this is wrong. And I know it's wrong because God says it's wrong. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense, because you're saying that maybe I'm not religious, but I grew up in a value system that is ingrained in, the people around me, maybe in culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. But then you got to look at, what about places like Finland that are extreme, like almost entirely secular, yet they have almost no homicides or murder, and I don't think the trans movement even is really big or exists there at all. So like, how do people like that continue to thrive?
Sure. So you have to also think of a couple of things. You have to think of the cultural differences. Like someone in Finland is going to live a lot differently than someone who's raised in the Bronx.
Yes.
Right. You have to consider that. Then you also have to consider how much of that information is actually truthful. Because I know a lot of people, for example, that used to live during the communist revolution in China, like the Great Leap Forward, and these people, they know what their government did to their civilians, but we're only getting a portion of that information because the government says, no, we want our image, our Chinese image, to be very pristine. So we have to consider how much of that information is actually trustworthy and not just fudging the numbers to make it seem like everything is great. It's sort of like the gun debate. Well, let's look at like the UK. They don't got guns. Okay, but now do the numbers for the knives. How many times people get shanked over there?
You see that video today? People were getting out of the car, and there was like 9 dudes dressed in black and they had machetes and they were just hitting this dude.
I didn't, but I believe it. I believe it. So we're only getting a portion of the story. So I don't go by that.
Speaking of China, I don't believe shit. But remember when COVID happened and everybody, well, of course, Trump was like, it's a China virus and all that, which was true. And China was releasing their numbers and like, yeah, we only had 7 cases yesterday. It's like,
yeah.
eat
Right.
my ass. You ain't slick. I see you mowing down people in the streets on freaking security camera, and you're telling me you have 7 cases in the whole country. You lying.